This is LSM 11 of South Africa, Lehlohonolo Solomon Maduna of Malevene All Stars Group. Today we are celebrating South Africa as we are taking part in the Morocco 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. We are about 2 days left before the kick-off of this unique African soccer tournament. As a Malevene Recycling All Stars Group, what we have seen about this year's tournament is that it is totally different from other Afcon tournaments that came before it. We have discovered that this tournament has two elements: an element of football and also an element of soccer. If one looks at the number of groups in this 2025 Morocco Afcon, there are 6 groups, which is Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, Group E, and Group F. So these 6 groups, they represent the word soccer, because soccer has it's a word that has 6 letters. So those 6 groups in this Morocco 2025 Africa Cup of Nations represent soccer, but they also represent, from a South African point of view, they also represent school, the name school, because school is a name that has 6 letters. As we know that in the olden days here in South Africa, most of the players that we had in our national teams or the professional teams, they came from school sports. So the name also represents Africa, because Africa is the six groups that we have. They also represent Africa, because Africa has, if you look the letter Africa, it has 6 letters. And if you remember the 6 letters that are there in Africa, they are taking us back to the 2010 Soccer World Cup, where Africa was represented by 6 nations, which are Algeria, Cameroon, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, and South Africa. So, as I said, this year's Afcon has an element of soccer. As I stated that soccer stands for Africa. That 6 letters stands for 6 groups that we are having. They stands for Africa. They also stand for soccer. They also stand for school, because in South Africa we had our tournaments. Our football was sponsored by school, or it took talent from school. So I also mentioned that this year's Africa Cup of Nations has an element of football. I'm differing from soccer now. I'm coming to football. So in terms of football, I like to say this. The football element that makes Morocco 2025 Afcon to be different from other Afcons that came before it is the fact that in each and every group, all these 6 groups, in every group there is a team that is going to the World Cup next year or in 2026. We never had a situation where an Afcon every group has a team that is going to the World Cup. So if you look the word World Cup, it has 8 letters. So if you count the teams that are going to the World Cup in this Afcon, when we consider that the DRC has already qualified, because we are hopeful as Malevene Recycling All Stars Group that the DRC will win the playoffs. So it will make these teams which are in this Afcon to be 8. So if they are 8, they represent the letter football, which has 8 letters. The name football has 8 letters. So those teams, ESMA 11, M11, Recycling All Stars, those teams which are going to the World Cup are Algeria, Egypt, Ivory Coast, Morocco, Senegal, Tunisia, South Africa, and we are hopeful that DRC will also make it. So they make all these 8 teams, they make this Afcon of 2025 a very unique Afcon, because it has all groups have the teams that are going to the tournament of World Cup next year. And what also makes this year's tournament interesting is the neighboring countries that are neighboring South Africa. For example, Zimbabwe, which will be playing South Africa in the group stages in Group B. Also, we also have Botswana, which is having a coach who originates from South Africa. So it will be interesting if we have a battle between South Africa and Botswana, and also the battle between South Africa and Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe, it nearly made South Africa, it denied South Africa access to the World Cup when they drew 1-1 with South Africa. So it will be a fierce battle when they meet. But what we as Malevene Recycling All Star Club Group are saying is that we want to congratulate the coach of Botswana, who is Coach Morena Ramurebudi, because he's the first South African to head a foreign country to the Afcon. We never had a situation where South Africa is competing in a competition and there is a head coach of a foreign country who comes from South Africa, who is in the same tournament. So it's an achievement for Africa, it's an achievement for South Africa to have a situation or a scenario like that. We are looking forward as Malevene that the coach Morena Ramurebudi will raise the South African flag high in this Afcon. We are also looking forward that South Africa will have a good Afcon in this tournament as they are going to the World Cup. But what is interesting about this tournament is that Tunisia, which South Africa played during the 1996 final of Afcon, is also present here, and it is also going to the World Cup. So maybe we might see along the tournament the repeat of the 1996 taking place in this tournament, and ESMA 11 will be celebrating the 30 years of South Africa winning the Afcon. And lastly, in closing, as we watch this Afcon, we are wondering which team will win, because it has two sides. It has a side, those teams that are going to the World Cup, and those teams that are not going to the World Cup. So which team will win the Afcon? Is it the team that is going to the World Cup, or the team that is not going to the World Cup? So that will be making this Afcon very interesting and different from all other Afcons that came before it. So as LSM 11 from South Africa, from Sebokeng in the Val, I say to everyone, Happy Christmas and enjoy a new year in the 2026. Thank you.